Sheriff Wade Colton had run this town for 11 years, and in 11 years, nobody had ever told him no. So when the quiet woman in the grey jacket refused to hand over her bag at the diner parking lot checkpoint, he decided she needed a lesson. It was a slow Tuesday morning in Cedar Hollow, the kind of town where the biggest news was a fallen tree on Route 9. Sheriff Colton had set up a routine license check outside Mabel's diner, more for show than for safety. He liked being seen. He liked being obeyed. The woman stepped out of a rented sedan with Virginia plates. Mid-40s, calm eyes, a canvas bag slung over one shoulder. When Colton asked to search the bag, she said no, politely but firmly, and told him she was not required to consent to a search without cause. Colton did not like that word, no. He asked again. She repeated herself, calm as still water, and reached for her phone to call someone. Colton grabbed her wrist. She did not fight him. She simply looked him in the eye and said, "You are making a mistake you cannot undo." He laughed and cuffed her anyway. At the station, she gave her name as Dana Whitlock and asked for exactly one phone call. Colton told her she could make that call after she cooled off in a cell for being difficult. He took her phone, tossed it in a drawer, and locked her in the only cell Cedar Hollow had ever needed. Deputy Marcus Reyes watched with a knot forming in his stomach. Something about the woman unsettled him. She had not raised her voice once. She had not begged. She had simply repeated the same sentence before the cell door closed. "Someone will be calling soon." 3 hours passed. Colton was finishing a sandwich at his desk when the station phone rang. Deputy Reyes answered, listened, and went pale. He held the receiver out with a shaking hand. "Sheriff," he said, "it is the White House." Colton scoffed until he heard the voice on the line. It belonged to a duty officer inside the White House Situation Room, and the words came fast and precise. Colonel Dana Whitlock, United States Army, currently serving as a liaison to the National Security Council, was 3 hours overdue for a secure briefing tied to a classified interagency operation. Her last known location was Cedar Hollow. If she was not confirmed safe within the next 10 minutes, federal agents would be dispatched to the county immediately. Colton's sandwich fell out of his hand. He ran to the cell himself, key ring shaking in his grip. Dana Whitlock sat on the metal bench exactly where he had left her, arms folded, expression unreadable. She looked up at him with something close to pity. "I tried to tell you," she said. He stammered an apology, something about protocol and procedure, but she was already walking past him toward the front desk, asking calmly for her belongings. Colton scrambled to comply, hands fumbling with the evidence bag containing her phone, her keys, her badge. Her badge. He had never checked it. He had never asked. He had assumed a woman traveling alone with a canvas bag was someone to be controlled rather than someone to be respected. 10 minutes later, a black SUV rolled into the station parking lot. 2 agents in plain suits stepped out, and behind them, an Army colonel in dress uniform who saluted Dana Whitlock the moment she reached the door. She returned the salute, calm as ever, then turned back to Colton one final time. "You had a badge and a gun," she said, "and you used them to make yourself feel powerful instead of using them to protect people. That is not law enforcement. That is fear wearing a uniform." Colton had no answer. Word of the arrest reached the county commissioner within the hour. An internal review was opened before the sun set. Deputy Reyes, who had quietly documented every minute of the encounter in his notebook, was the one who handed over the timeline that would matter most in the weeks ahead. Colonel Whitlock never filed a personal complaint. She did not need to. The truth documented itself, one badge check, one refused phone call, one unchecked assumption at a time. Months later, Cedar Hollow had a new sheriff, and a new policy requiring every officer to verify identification before detaining anyone, regardless of how quiet or how difficult a person seemed. Deputy Marcus Reyes was the one who wrote that policy. He said he learned it from a woman who never raised her voice because she never needed to. Power without humility always meets its reckoning. Sometimes it arrives in a squad car. Sometimes it arrives in a phone call from a room most people will never see. If this story moved you, tell us in the comments where you are watching from tonight. Like this video, if you believe respect should never depend on how loud someone has to be to earn it, and subscribe for more stories about quiet strength standing up to unchecked power.